kind of you. And thank you and welcome to the 2011 State of the Campus Address. Since I rarely get the opportunity to see my wife, Yvonne, other than scheduled appointments, I would like to take this opportunity to say hello and to introduce my wife, Yvonne. I would like to begin today by telling you a couple of stories that illustrates our university community coming together as one. The first is well known to many by now. The other is known by only a few. A little more than a week ago, we were awarded the prestigious National Solar Observatory headquarters, beating out the University of Alabama at Huntsville. The Boulder campus will be the primary site for scientific research on turbulence and magnetism on the sun, right here on our East Campus. This will enhance our longtime research partnerships with several federal labs, facilitate exceptional educational opportunities for students, and will create more than 70 high-paying jobs in our community with an annual payroll of $20 million. It will further position us as a center of innovation in solar research. It is another example of how our entrepreneurial spirit will benefit the economic health of our state. Our ability to win the National Solar Observatory came about because it was a collaborative effort between the university, the city of Boulder, the business community, Senators Bennett and Udall, and Congressman Polis and Perlmutter. Our federal lab partners and Governor Hickenlooper were also closely involved. It was our alignment with our community partners that put us in a position to win the NSO. And that shows what we can do when we work together on a macro level. But we can also do it on a micro level. This summer, I received a letter from the mother of a freshman with autism. The student's mother wrote, "It is amazing to me that such a large school was able to give so much personal attention to my son. She told me that units all across campus offered her son help and individual attention that gave him unparalleled college experiences. And those units and people included housing and dining, CU disability, counseling and psychological services, his resident hall director, his math professor, his computer science advisor, the engineering department, his physics professor, and the CU Rec Center staff. She was amazed and wouldn't stop bragging on you. In her words, thank you so much to your amazing faculty and staff." And this supports my belief that we as a university dig deep inside ourselves to do things the right way. And I would like to mention some of our other key achievements this year. 10 students earned Fulbright grants, the most we've ever had in a single year. Distinguished Professor Carl Leinberger was confirmed by the U.S. Senate in August to the National Science Board. Physics Assistant Professor Alicia Marino was one of 13 Department of Energy researchers named last week by President Obama to receive the Presidential Early Career Award for scientists and engineers. Chemistry and biochemistry professor James Hines and I-Un Hugh, adjunct professor of physics and GILA, were elected to the National Academy of Sciences. Jewish Studies Director David Schneer co-curated with our CU Museum Director Lisa Tamaris Becker an amazing exhibit at the Art Museum called through Soviet Jewish Eyes, based on his critically acclaimed book. And geography professor Tom Veblen and his students created an excellent exhibit on ecological lessons from the 4 Mile Fire and other wildfires at the Museum of Natural History. I could go on. Everywhere we look, we see collaboration and achievement. Our faculty and staff maintain the excellent national reputation of the university, mentor students to new heights of learning and discovery, and broaden the horizons of our community in countless ways. We have also seen some big leadership changes at the university this year. These changes create opportunities for the next generation of leaders to step in, fill big shoes, and advance us into a new moment in history in which we find ourselves among world-renowned academic peers in the Pac-12. When I think of big boots to fill, I think of David Getchus, a progressive thinker and innovative leader who was more comfortable in cowboy boots than in dress shoes. He had just retired as law dean last summer to return to teaching when cancer took him suddenly from us, and much too soon. He left our campus a lasting legacy in the Wolf Law Building, and as dean, he led Colorado's only public law school to national prominence. We're now delighted to have Phil Weiser as the new dean of the law school. Phil founded the Silicon Flatiron Center for Law, Technology, and Entrepreneurship right here at CU. He is also just back from serving as technology and innovation advisor to the National Economic Council at the White House. College of Arts and Sciences Dean Todd Gleason announced his resignation in August to return to the classroom, following a highly successful decade of leading the college. He more than doubled the Arts and Sciences endowment. And I want to personally thank Todd for his outstanding service to the university as a visionary dean, associate vice chancellor for over 14 years. We are commencing a national search to fill that position. John Stevenson, Dean of the Graduate School, will chair the committee. In business, I am pleased with the job David Eikenberry has been doing since he joined us from the University of Illinois as Dean in the Leeds School of Business in February. He took the helm in a transformational moment in the business school's history as it emerges as a leader in entrepreneurship and social and ethical business education. We recently created a new Vice Chancellor for Strategic Relations. Through this role, we will raise the focus and coordination of our strategic communications. We will increase our emphasis on government and commercial relations and fully integrate our Alumni Association into these efforts. And I've named Frances Draper to this position and look forward to what we will be able to do as she collaborates with you on these initiatives. Deb Coffin is doing a remarkable job as Interim Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, as is longtime Administrator Jeff Lipton as Interim Vice Chancellor for Administration. Bob Boswell is serving us very well as Interim Vice Chancellor of Diversity, Equity, and Community Engagement, and my great thanks to all of them. I'm confident that this team will help us find new and innovative ways to succeed. As I thought about how to begin my speech today, I thought of a literary comparison, as I am wont to do from time to time as a former high school English teacher. I compared our situation last year to Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, the best of times and the worst of times. And we have certainly seen plenty of both. This year, the state of our campus evokes another literary metaphor, A Modest Proposal, in which Jonathan Swift proposed a plan to protect the poor in Ireland from being a burden on society and for making them beneficial to the public. Swift advocated eating the young to survive the Irish potato famine. Well, today, as I stand before you, we have a potato famine. So let's eat our young. Let's cut our way to excellence. Let's not hire the next generation of great professors to educate the future leaders of our state. Let's not engage in the kind of research that distinguishes and pushes our state forward. Let's not build any new buildings to educate our students. Instead, let's eat ourselves from the inside out to solve our problems. Of course, that's absurd. It's our job to think about growth, not decline. It's our job to think about the future of Colorado. It's our job to blaze our own trail, to decide where we are going to be in 5 years or 10 years. We're not going to eat our young, just the opposite. We're going to invest in our young. We're going to invest in the people, places, and programs that make this university great. We're going to make our case to alumni and donors, business and industry, the state and the federal government as to why they need to invest in us. And so, I have my own modest proposal, and it centers on the tradition of entrepreneurship and innovation. We have a well-documented tradition of innovation at CU Boulder. While many of our peers continue to try and squeeze the final drops of subsistence from old models, we are well practiced at inventive new models. For more than a decade, we have been creating new models to not only survive, but to thrive in the face of declining public funding. Innovation has been the backbone of our resilience. It has become our trademark. It is our DNA. While we may be a university with traditional students, carrying out a traditional role mission, and operating on a classic brick-and-mortar campus, we are anything but traditional. In my 38 years on the campus, I have watched how we have redefined ourselves to rise up to meet the challenges of our times and demands of our state and its citizens. For example, last year during a recession, when there were American Recovery and Reinvestment Act stimulus awards to be won, our faculty and staff went out and got it, to the tune of $95 million. Among public universities without a medical school, we were #1 in the nation in our funding from the National Institute of Health, and #3 in our awards from the National Science Foundation. That shows how effective our researchers are in a highly competitive environment. Further, our research funding injects $147 million a year into the local and state economies through salaries and benefits, and another $39 million in purchased supplies, equipment, and services. CU Boulder inspired 7 new companies this year, and 27 in the last 5 years. We initiated new diverse funding models for new facilities to educate our students in the 21st century with a combination of philanthropy, student fees, indirect cost recoveries, auxiliary funding, and federal grants. This allowed us to build the Jenny Smalley Carruthers Biotechnology Building, opening early next year, the Visual Arts Complex, the Center for Community, Wolf Law, to expand Coble Business, and Williams Village North, often with little or no state funding. I should note that all are LEED Gold or Platinum certified or pending certification. Academically, we have been innovative, successfully pursuing revenue-producing flagship 2030 initiatives to attract more students through providing more international connections and by growing our residential academic programs. This fall, we expanded our RAPs again from 10 to 12, with 2 new programs at Williams Village North in sustainable design and sustainable justice. This fall's residential academic program enrollment of 2,650 students represents 41% of our resident hall students. RAPs continue to grow in popularity. Our international enrollment of nearly 1,500 represents an 8% increase, including a 50% increase in our freshman class, exposing our students to diverse cultures. Our domestic student population also is reflecting a greater diversity, with 20% of our freshman class identifying themselves as racially and ethnically diverse. Diversity among our in-state freshman students is even higher, at 25.6%, approaching the level of diversity among our state high school graduates. When we talk about innovation, it's impossible not to mention our nationally replicated and award-winning STEM education programs: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. These programs address a national shortage in math and science teachers in groundbreaking ways. Through this collaboration of the School of Education, the College of Arts and Sciences, and the College of Engineering and Applied Science, we have doubled the number of STEM majors completing secondary math and science teacher certification compared to just 5 years ago. And the number of physics and chemistry majors enrolling in teacher certification has more than tripled in the past 3 years. One of our STEM programs, the Learning Assistant Program, is emulated at 22 universities across the country. We are establishing a new journalism and mass communications model for the 21st century media environment. We will prepare our students in content-rich disciplines like political science, economics, or international affairs, paired with a robust education in journalism. Chris Rader is overseeing the implementation of the new Journalism Plus program as Faculty Director of Journalism and Mass Communication. We are also looking at a realignment of the Environmental Design program to focus on design and sustainability. Our move to the Pac-12 is reconnecting us with important alumni and donor base while re-energizing our fans and community. Identifying with these world-class peers allows us to showcase our research, teaching, creative scholarship, and the many achievements of our students. We have redefined our Alumni Association and Foundation collaboration, and we are forming or reestablishing chapters in London and Saudi Arabia. This year, we are looking to establish alumni chapters in Japan and China, providing greater visibility in Asia, a prime recruiting area for international students. The Alumni Association and the Foundation have also teamed up to reinvigorate relations with our Pac-12 alumni and donors. Back at home, we continue to streamline our business practices. The Boulder campus is well below our peers in administrative support expenditures. We are among the most innovative and efficient universities in the nation by any measure. And through this tradition of innovation, we have made great strides in the face of declining public funding. We are preparing our students for a life of career and contribution in a global society. The university contributes billions annually to Colorado's economy. Our research innovations improve lives while creating and attracting companies. We advance the economy, health, and culture of our state and beyond. And it's safe to say that the University of Colorado contributes to the quality of life that all Coloradans enjoy. And yet, despite our ingenuity and productivity, we are still facing extreme funding challenges and declining state support. We are finding what we thought would be a temporary economic downturn has turned into an extended challenge. State support continues to dwindle. Federal funding for research support is more competitive for declining dollars. The federal and state economies continue to lack. This is the new normal. Colorado is already 48th nationally in per pupil state funding. Now the state economic forecast, issued last month, projects a $500 million deficit in fiscal 2012-2013. We know that public higher education is likely to be the target of further cuts. In the last decade, state support for CU has declined 53%. State support has dropped from 15% of our budget in 2002 to under 5% of our budget today, the lowest of any flagship in the nation. This seemingly unenviable position results in many institutions around the country calling us to ask, how do you do it? How have we continued to provide quality in the face of radically reduced public support? We've done it through the innovations of our faculty and staff and managers who continue to make tremendous progress with meager resources. But without adequate support, it is unsustainable. Higher education funding continues to be vulnerable. It is one of the only flexible components of the state budget. And yet, as the funding has continued to be reduced, the people of the state of Colorado have continued to expect quality education from their flagship university. While the state may not be able to support us, it urgently needs us. It needs us to be successful and prosper. It needs us to produce a highly skilled workforce that supports its industry and contributes to its economy. It needs us to continue to be the center of innovation for new research and business development. It needs us because if we don't move forward, the state doesn't move forward. We have had a lot of practice in being innovative. We created a dynamic strategic plan in Flagship 2030. We have been scrappy in competing for research dollars and streamlining expenses. We already operate more efficiently than our peer institutions, and we realize we cannot cut our way to success. So where does that leave us? What do we need to do? We need a faculty that is consistently recognized among the nation's leading teachers and top scholars for their research and creative work. We need to ensure that our graduates are well educated and highly sought after in the marketplace. We need to be a vibrant hub for cultural enrichment and community and spirit through our performing and visual arts, our athletic events, and our lectures and debates. So what are we doing today? In research, the work and articles generated by CU Boulder faculty and students are among the most highly cited in the nation. In a recent published study in Science, CU Boulder ranks number 8 among prestigious U.S. research universities in research citations over a 5-year period from 2004 to 2009. That puts us in the company of MIT, Caltech, Princeton, Stanford, Harvard, and Cal Berkeley. You can see we're running in good company. It's also indicative that in a world of shrinking federal dollars, we are viewed among a handful of elite universities as a safe bet for research awards. Our faculty and staff brought in $359 million in sponsored research funding in fiscal year 2011. That was up 5.6% from 2009, the last year before the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act stimulus funding. And research funds translate into cutting-edge instruction in the classroom. We stand out from other research universities by involving 1,000 undergraduates and 1,150 graduate students in research, from bioscience to astrophysics. Finally, in the latest national research rankings of graduate programs, CU Boulder has 20 programs across all disciplines ranked in the top 20, and many are in the top 10. To make sure our graduates are viewed as exceptional in the marketplace, we need to immerse our students in the most cutting-edge, innovative environment that we can provide. We can do that through engagement in research, application of new teaching models, and the implementation of new technologies like Desire to Learn to facilitate learning. Payscale.com this year rates CU Boulder as one of the nation's top schools for mid-career salaries. In recent years, our graduates have been perennial leaders in early career starting salaries as well. For the second consecutive year, we have seen a sharp increase in companies looking to hire our graduates. Job postings were up 23% over last year, with nearly 3,500 full-time listings. A week ago, there were 150 employers right here in this room recruiting our students at a career and internship fair. Yes, I know there's more to a degree than marketability. We all agree that critical thinking, civil discourse, problem solving, and civic engagement are important parts of the CU learning experience. But the fact that a CU degree is highly regarded is certainly one mark of a powerhouse university. As a cultural hub, we need to continue to draw the statewide community onto the campus for engagement in the performing and visual arts. Performing and visual arts are powerful teachers of different cultures, perspectives, historical interpretations, and philosophical discourse. More than 385,000 citizens come on campus annually to take advantage of our museums, arts and cultural events, and that doesn't even count the 110,000 attending our cultural outreach activities we take into the community. 500,000 people come on campus every year for our athletic events, which engenders spirit and camaraderie while connecting us with our alumni and devoted supporters. So what do we do going forward? In our recent 10-year reaccreditation report, leaders of our peer universities said that the reputation of CU Boulder may be better appreciated outside the state of Colorado than within the state itself. To ensure our reputation is raised within our own state borders, we must draw the community to our campus and build a greater understanding of the value we offer. Building that reputation is critical to our future because it attracts resources and funding that we need to chart our future. It is vital that we attract more qualified student applicants, both resident and non-resident. Build upon our international student momentum to help meet our flagship 2030 objectives of internationalizing the campus, as well as to build our financial model. Engender the same excitement about CU from inside Colorado that we enjoy outside of Colorado. Prepare our students to be competitive in a rapidly changing 21st century job market, and continue to be the safe bet for research awards among federal agencies. Unify our communications so that we effectively build our reputation and communicate our value to all of our constituents. How will we achieve these goals in the new normal? We all agree, I believe, that we cannot cut our way to success. We cannot eat our young. We must rely on our history and innovation to build on our flagship 2030 achievements. These goals are vital to our future, but it is also vital to create a financial model to support and sustain these activities. Tuition and state support have never paid for the cost of educating our resident students, and consequently, we have evolved to a model that is highly dependent on non-resident tuition. Unfortunately, in the face of continued declines in state funding, it is inevitable that our resident students are going to have to bear a greater cost of their education. This year, our resident undergraduate tuition for arts and sciences increased 9%. Cal Berkeley's resident tuition increased 17%, and the University of Washington went up 20%. Closer to home, CSU's tuition increased by 20%. If you look at the Colorado private institutions, Colorado College's annual tuition is nearly $40,000, and the University of Denver is nearly $38,000. At our public peers, like the University of Illinois, resident tuition this year is more than $14,000. At CU Boulder, our resident tuition and fees is $9,152. As we look at the prospect of raising tuition, seeking more research dollars, and excelling in private fundraising so that we can be the powerhouse university that we are capable of being, we need to be accountable and transparent to our constituents and to our state. In academics, we need to invest in programs with high student demand and those with demonstrated need in the business community. We must increase availability of core courses and aggressively pursue evidence-based reform to improve faculty-based productivity and student outcomes. In student performance, we need to increase our 6-year graduation rate from 68% to an all-time high of 71% over the next decade. We intend to increase the percentage of freshmen who return for their sophomore year from 85% to 88%. We will also keep a sharp eye on how to enhance financial aid to low and middle income families to preserve and increase accessibility. We have already made dramatic additions to financial aid over the last 5 years, increasing it nearly threefold, from $14 million to $39 million. There is another critical piece to financial stability and our ability to deliver a quality education to our students, and that's our fundraising campaign. The Creating Futures campaign was publicly announced in April. Creating Futures is a campaign to enhance CU's 4 campuses on all fronts and advance the economy, culture, and health of Colorado. Our donors invest in the people, places, and programs that compose CU's pillars of excellence and impact in learning and teaching, such as our STEM programs, our residential academic programs, or the work we do in the performing arts. In discovery and innovation, such as our work in the Renewable and Sustainable Energy Institute, the Geosciences Complex approved by the Board of Regents last month, or the Deming Center for Entrepreneurship. In community and culture, including the Visual Arts Complex, the Center for Community, and athletics, which just opened its new facility at the Coors Event Center. And in health and wellness, which includes the work of our new BioFrontiers Institute on cancer research, heart disease, and cartilage regeneration, and much more in the new biotech facility. We have made significant progress in our fundraising. As a campus, we have a goal of $508 million in private fundraising, and we have achieved $242 million, thanks to the generosity of our supporters. We have funded 4 endowed chairs in the last year, 2 in business, finance, 1 each in Jewish history and bioengineering. This adds substantially to the momentum and presence of those programs. This fundraising has been enormously valuable to us, but the vast majority of it is committed to specific areas of the donors' passions. We need to pursue unrestricted gifts and aggressively build our endowment for long-term financial stability, much as private higher education institutions have done. Despite recent years of success in fundraising, we are still relatively young in our fundraising activities. We need to build a greater tradition of philanthropy amongst our alumni, our parents, our faculty and staff, and our supporters. And we need to help them understand the tremendous benefits of supporting this institution. Our campaign goals will be met through all of our efforts, alumni, parents, faculty, and staff. One of the many success factors that provides great strength to a comprehensive campaign is faculty and staff giving. And some of you have been part of faculty and staff giving programs within your departments, or you have simply felt passionate about an area of the campus, our students, research, or capital projects that have led you to give in your own way. Whatever has led you to pursue your passions and interests at CU Boulder, I want to tell you how grateful I am, as well as the campus is, for your support. As employees of this great university, you contribute so much to ensuring that we are successful. Your gifts help our students fulfill their academic careers to go on to be productive citizens, and I thank you. I have long felt that the best perform in the most difficult circumstances, and we're there. We have made tremendous progress in the face of very difficult conditions. We have not only survived, but we have excelled. You have demonstrated your resilience as a campus. Now the challenge is to elevate this university to lead Colorado forward. So I'm asking our faculty and our staff to continue to step up on several fronts. I'm asking you to retain our outstanding research reputation and enhance it so we continue to be the sure bet in federal research funding at a time of reduced federal funds. This will require faculty to be entrepreneurial and pursue innovative models to capture the same dollars from a shrinking pie. I'm asking you to continue to build on our success of bringing a diversity of students to campus, both domestically and internationally. We must welcome students from all points around the globe, all races and income levels, so that we become a global community and enhance the experience of all of our students. I'm asking you to further build our campus into a tight-knit community. Help our students, alumni, faculty, and staff, and all of our supporters to feel vested in the university. Ensure that they are truly forever Buffs and that they are inspired to support the university. I'm asking you to help Coloradans understand and see the value of our university as the national and worldwide community do. Those with a stake in the future of the state should be encouraged to embrace the university as a significant asset and invest in it. And finally, I'm asking you to help build dynamic, consolidated, and coordinated communications about our value to the state, the nation, and the world. We are ultimately a place for learning and transformation in a rapidly changing world. Our research forges new knowledge, finds solutions to our problems, and builds our economy. Our education prepares students for a fulfilling life of career and contribution. It creates citizens who contribute their local and global communities and imparts knowledge which they can succeed in a volatile world. Our cultural and athletic offerings weave a community fabric, enrich our quality of life, and offer broad perspectives. This moment in our history is too important to stand idle. We cannot wait. We cannot wait for the state to restore funding to historical levels. We cannot wait for the economy to rebound. We cannot wait for someone else to create a model for our sustainability. We must do it ourselves. And we must do it together on a macro level, on a micro level, and on a level that advances our state in perhaps the most challenging time we will ever know. As we depart this morning for our separate classrooms, our labs, and our offices to do our life's work of advancing knowledge and creativity and culture, let us all recall the words of George Norland, our beloved fifth president. He presided over CU in some of its darkest days in the Great Depression. He said, "We can light the way if we all hold a candle." Thank you. I'm happy to take a few questions before we break. There are microphones if there are questions. Lori? Yes, so as we increase, I think I'm going to answer Lori's question. She wanted me to talk about the financial aid model as we increase tuition. As we increase tuition, what we've been doing over the past few years, we've been putting between 20 and 25% of each dollar into financial aid. And we will continue to do that as we increase tuition. And I think I used the figure of just the amount of money that we have increased financial aid, and we'll continue to do that even as we increase tuition. It won't all go for our operating. We want to put, as I said, 20 to 25% of each dollar into financial aid. Noah?
Phil, thank you and Yvonne so much for your leadership on this campus. It's fabulous. So I'm Noah Finkelstein, a professor in the physics department, and I intentionally work at a public institution, a great institution like the University of Colorado. I couldn't imagine being at a better place, and with this tremendous leadership. It is a form of investment. It's probably the key form of investment that we can have in the future of our society and in the state of Colorado, which I've come to adopt as home. I'm a great fan of that. I wanted to sort of revisit the question about the new normal and ask you your advice and also challenge some of the other faculty, staff, and students who are here to engage. I suspect that some of the challenges that we face in the state, the fact that we lack funding for our flagship state institution, might be a matter of education of the legislature. And I've been successful in working at the federal level. I haven't had so much success at the state level, partly because I don't know how. And so I offer my services. I would be pleased to join with my students who I know who would be pleased to engage with elected officials here for the state to challenge the new normal, to invest in education as a fundamental form of seeding the future and addressing the long-term welfare of this. Is that something that we should do? Is that something that you can help me do with my students to engage, and would the other faculty join me in helping address this? I know that there's a ballot issue. I think the only tax raising issue on nationally to support education broadly here. Is this something that we can or should get involved in?
Absolutely, Noah. And one of the things that we'll be doing in the spring that you will be invited to and other faculty and staff will be invited to is CU Advocacy Day at the legislature. And CU Advocacy Day at the legislature will be an opportunity for our faculty, our staff, our alumni, our parents to meet with legislators and to talk about what's going on not only at the University of Colorado Boulder but at all of our campuses. Throughout the legislative session, we will also be bringing faculty to the legislature to meet with members of the House and Senate Education Committee, for example. So yes, I think as part of the new normal, we do need to involve our faculty in legislative issues very much like we do at the federal level. Thank you, Noah.
Good morning, Chancellor DeStefano. Derek Watson, Environmental Health and Safety. What I heard you say today was really inspiring to me because I know we've gone through some very tough times and you've helped us grow in research and enrollment. And one of the questions I've got for you is related to one of the unintended consequences of growth. As we navigate our campus daily, we have some significant challenges in making sure our students can go from one place to another. And a couple of weeks ago, we had a student that was critically injured trying to cross the street here on our campus. And my question to you is what is your vision? What are your thoughts about the deep change we need to make as we deal with pedestrians on our campus?
Yeah, Derek, that's a great question. And if you remember, we, just at the Regent meeting this past month, the Regents approved moving the master plan forward. And now we take our 10-year master plan to the Colorado Commission on Higher Education. And as part of that master plan, we certainly are looking at issues of transportation on the campus. We're looking at issues of, as we build out the East Campus, how do we get students moving from the main campus to the East Campus and back? And how do we make the campus safe? And I think, as I've told many of you, I would like to see this campus in the future not have any cars on campus, be completely a pedestrian campus. And we need to move to that because there are safety issues as we grow. But I just want to say that when we look at growth, and for example in research, I want to thank Randy Draper and his staff in contracts and grants. They do just an exceptional job. I mean, when we get that $359 million, the faculty are writing the proposals, but the work that contracts and grants office does is just remarkable. So, yes. So when we think about growth, we also have to think about the infrastructure, whether it's with contracts and grants for research, whether it's from a safety issue as we grow the number of students, as we build out the East Campus. And I am very pleased with where we're headed with the 10-year master plan because I think it has ideas to help us solve some of those problems. So thank you, Derek, for that question. Alrighty. Well, listen, I want to thank all of you for being here today. It's a real privilege for me and an honor to serve as your chancellor. And wish you well today in whatever you're doing. And we'll get back together in another year. Before we do break, I didn't have a chance. I want to introduce one of our regents who's here, Steve Bosley. Steve, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And we talked about the capital campaign, and Jack and Jeannie Thompson are our campus leaders, chairs for the campaign, and Jeannie's here. Jeannie, thank you for being here. And again, thank all of you for being here. We'll see you.